Hello and welcome to Tremaine Sci-Fi. Today we're yeah, I'll try that. Hello and welcome to Tremaine Sci-Fi Hour. We are on our fifth attempt at doing this. Um, so today we're here with Safa Shaqsy. She is a Omani writer of 11 and some best-selling books on Amazon. So well, just quickly, we'll just get this out of the way. That don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, Tremaine Sci-Fi Hour, and remember to check back every Tuesday at 7 a.m. New Zealand time to get more episodes. So before the internet cuts out again, so far, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I live in Oman, Muscat. The city is Muscat in Oman, and I publish 11 books and soon to be 12 books on Amazon and other retailers. And a lot of my books are best-selling
Oh,
books.
okay. So because a majority of our listeners are from the West, they're from America and New Zealand and Australia. We may not know
Yes.
much about Oman and your culture. So, could you give us a bit of a idea of what the books you were reading as a child? Were they Western books? Were they Eastern books? What were the sort of, what was the sort of idea there?
Well, mostly the books I was reading when I was a little girl, they were fiction, fantasy, and science fiction, mostly about adventures, about kids going on adventures and having hard times and then winning in the end.
Right. And so, would you say you had a why? So give us some examples of some of the books you would have read as a child. So like, did you read Harry Potter, for example? Is there?
No, I didn't. No, not Harry Potter. There were a lot of books I was reading, but I don't remember the authors.
Oh,
But the
okay.
first book that made me a writer is Lauren Oliver. You know her?
No, I don't know her. Sorry. Is she what kind of writer is she?
Young adult fiction.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah. So from those early moments, what were some of the more what were some of the moments that stood out for you? Because you're a fantasy writer, right?
Yes.
So what was?
Mostly,
Sorry.
continue.
No. You continue. Sorry, I cut you off there.
Mostly what made me a writer, the first book I read for young adult by Lauren Oliver. The moment I read that book, I knew I wanted to be a writer of fiction in
Oh,
general.
okay. So that was so. What in terms of fantasy? What sort of inspires your fantasy? Is there a world that you've created? Give us a bit of an idea about where your stories come from.
First of all, when I have an idea, I get the title and the synopsis first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the
Yeah.
description of the book. Then I can look for the covers. After I find the cover and buy it, I get inspiration, and then I begin to write the book. And mostly, I get ideas from movies and other books. It helps.
Right. So you get like that. You get a good mixture of art and content
Concepts
and
from here and there, yes.
yeah. Um. So, give us a bit of an idea about the books that you have published. So, can you give us some of the names of them and give us a brief, not a brief, sorry, a an idea about what they're about.
Well, first is the Finite is about it's a science fiction book about people living in the space city. It's a very nice book. It was my first book, but it was trash, seriously, because it was the first. Of course, going to be bad. But after that, I wrote Alien Busters. I sold about 16,000 copies
Ooh.
in the first month. Yes.
It's a decent day's wage, yeah. Uh, whew, it's more than most people on Amazon sell in a lifetime. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So what were they? So the first one. Let's talk about your beginning with the first one because I know it may have been trash, but it would be interesting to know where you started because then you've gone from one book that didn't sell very well to a book that did sell very well. So obviously you were able to learn some lessons from it. Um, so tell us a little bit about. Sorry about that interruption. So tell us a little bit about the first book you wrote. So what were some of the strengths it had, and what were some of the weaknesses it had?
The strength is was having plot. The plotting was good, and the story, the characters were weak because I didn't know how to write the characters. So I had like 7 years to learn how to write characters with depth and background stories.
Right. So, and where did you learn these sort of skills? Like, did you have internet videos? Were there other books that you read, or was it simply just a matter of trial and error?
No, it was the books I wrote, the books I read, and the movies, and I saw the dialogues and how it was written and everything like that.
Right. Okay. And so then we move on to the second book, which was quite a bit more successful than the first. So, what was that book about, and was it a what advertising techniques did you put into place to get that sort of reception?
The thing that made it successful that I used a lot of Amazon ads, and the story is really good. It's like a movie. A lot of people, when they read the book, they told me it should be a movie. So that was a plus for the book, I think. And also the cover was really good. I paid like $500 for the cover.
Oh, yeah. So you had quite a good. So what was the story about? Just give us a brief synopsis.
It's a story. It's about alien busters. It's like they have a job. It's busting aliens, and there is one character, main character. Her name is Natalie. She found a baby alien. And she took it with her, but it's against the rules. So
Right.
it was like a lot of story and background story of why she became an alien buster because of her parents also are, and a lot of things.
Right. And so, sci-fi novel, obviously, and we focus heavily on sci-fi. What were some of the inspirations behind that story?
Mostly other science fiction books and movies because at that time, especially that movie called Alien, know it? Alien, the movie.
Alien, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, okay. So Alien, the one with Ripley.
yes.
So okay, so Alien inspired you, and what? To give us an idea of the age range you had for your novels, is it young adult as you were inspired, or is it a more general audience? What's the age range?
The first years I started writing science fiction, it was between 12 to 16 years old. But now I focus on 18,
Right.
mostly new adult fiction.
Okay. Yeah. And so science. So for a lot of your science fiction, was there any inspiration from your background? So for is there sort of I think well they probably can't see this, but I'm assuming you're a Muslim and your you're from a Omani culture. So, what inspirations did you draw from that? How does it leak? Because we know that culture leaks into our fiction, whether we want it to or not. So, what sort of ideas come from your background?
The ideas come from a background because we like action movies a lot here in Oman. Not much with romance. So I started with writing science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah,
So that is why I was focusing on fantasy and science fiction at the beginning. Then now I started focusing on contemporary. Then maybe I will start writing vampire books.
right. And so there's a an element of there's an element of there's folk tales, the like for us it would be Hansel and Gretel and things like that. So what folk tales did you grow up with as a child that we may not know about?
Uh, it's the same you have there
Oh, okay.
because we have a lot of American culture here.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Right. So actually explain that. So where don't worry, I'm just doing a process. So you explained in your writing process that you start off with the synopsis title, then the cover, and
Cover.
then
Yes.
the cover, then the story. So, do you outline? Do you pants through it, or what's the general idea behind your process? Is there a yeah,
A plan, you mean?
yes,
Organization?
yeah,
No. Sometimes I like to pester, but some books it depends on the book, the characters and theme. And like my book Thirst, it's about vampires. It was all pasting, all the book.
right.
And other books were outlining. I had to outline first.
Right. And which do you find is more suitable to your writing style, or is it very much a case by case basis?
Depends on the book and the characters and the plot and the story, and also because fasting gives me more stress, so I have to outline first to know what's going to
Right.
be in the book.
Now, you mentioned an alien. So you mentioned an alien race. How did you design the alien concepts? Like, how are they humanoids? Are they completely fantastical? What are the aliens like in your worlds?
The aliens are very weird looking, but also typical aliens because they attack humans. But there are also good aliens there. So there is like a fight between the human and the laws and the bad aliens, good aliens, all of it, the mix in the
So
book.
there's a conflict between not just between the humans and aliens, but within the aliens and humans themselves.
Yes.
So do you see a sort of theme there with how humanity fights? Do you see the sort of there's a bit of a idea there where we when we fight each other, we also fight within ourselves about whether we should fight.
Yes, it's that concept exactly.
Yeah,
Because I want to, when I tell my stories, I want people to learn from them also.
right. And so, at what age did you start reading?
About 10 maybe.
Oh, okay. Um, and were you immediately taken away by the books, or did it slowly come up? Were you not at all interested in books at first? What was the sort of what was your relationship with books as a child?
When I was like a little girl, very little, I was playing imaginary stories with my siblings and had a lot of dolls at home. Then I started reading and everything changed. I
Right.
loved reading from that moment.
That's it's lovely. So when give us an idea of the stories you made before you started reading. So I know that for a lot of people, they had very some people have very
Fictional,
yeah, yeah.
yes, I had like three characters. I always write about them. Two girls and one boy. They always go on adventures every day and write stories about them. I had a notebook with me. I take it everywhere.
Right, okay, yeah. So that's so you can sketch as well then, or is it like proper drawings? What's the are you a very good drawer, or are you like me and you just do little scribbles then?
Little scribbles like what happened between the characters and what evil thing they faced that day.
Right, okay. And okay, so you said Alien inspired you. What what parts was it the idea of the alien being quite um different, being quite strange? Was that the thing that sort of captured you there?
You mean like what inspired me to write Strange Aliens?
Yes.
Basically from movies I loved when I was little, especially Resident Evil. But that's not Alien movie. The
Oh, the
action that happened in the
zombie.
movie,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So action has a lot to do with your upbringing, with your fiction consumption. So
Yes.
give us an idea of how you write action scenes, because I know that a lot of writers struggle with that particular thing. How do
At,
you write action scenes? Do you? I know that some of the common wisdom is to put a lot of full stops in, but what gives you your inspiration with? What gives you your edge with action scenes?
I love writing action scenes, sorry. But at first, my first book, The Finite, it was really difficult. I was like very sad for the whole day to write just one scene. But now it's very easy for me to write action scenes.
Right, but what's some of the strategies you employ to write the action scenes? Is there like a is there because it's very different from movies, as you know, where they can show where action sometimes can slow down the plot.
Yes.
What's give us an idea of the processes going on in your head for when you're writing these scenes.
First of all, I have to make it like one page or two of the scenes, fighting scenes. And there would be not a lot of dialogues because that will slow the plot down and story. So I
Right.
make the characters fight each other only one or two pages. That's it.
In the whole book.
Not every few chapters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So you limit the action to a few chapters to stop it from overwhelming the plot. Um,
Yes.
is there a what do you call it?
Technique?
A technique? Yes, that's the word. Thank you.
No, I just wing it. Whatever flows, flows.
Right. Okay. So you're a proper sort of pantser. Yeah.
With the scenes, yes.
The scenes. Yes. Okay. So I suppose that. that brings us to the question of where where some of your do you think you'll write a so you've written 12
11.
11 sorry it's very early in the morning so you've written 11 books. How many of them were
Yes.
sci-fi, how many of them were fantasy, and how many of them are contemporary?
Science fiction is about three, maybe.
Yeah.
And vampire books now, two. One is on pre-order, will be coming out next year.
Oh, okay.
And fantasy, maybe two or three. And
Okay.
the others like contemporary, literary.
Oh, what do you mean by that? What are they about?
Mostly the contemporary, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Mostly drama with the culture and the country and what happens here, love stories, loss and grief, friendship.
Well, so give us some of the ideas of the unique experiences you would have had in Oman rather than in over. Well, yeah. Give us some idea of the unique experiences you've had that would have inspired this contemporary
Unique.
fiction.
Oman is a very peaceful country. I like it. There are beaches and the nature is very beautiful here.
Right.
That inspires me to write and inspires me to make more scenery writing in the books.
Oh, okay, so see, I have a very similar thing because in New Zealand we have very like beautiful forests and hills, so that inspires me as well. So do you have a particular spot that you like in near Muscat that is like a place you go to sort of well, because actually sorry, I'll move on from that. So because Muscat's so much older, I'm assuming than any city in New Zealand. Do you guys have a sort of like you know how in Europe they have like medieval areas and things like that? Do you guys have like medieval sections of the town?
Yes, we have that here.
What's that like? So what's because I'm just trying to explore the fantastical side of that. Is there a what are they like? What is the
Here the scenery is very beautiful, and we're living on the coast, so we are near to the beach.
ah
So there are like cafes, restaurants near the beach, and the weather is always cool. It's not always cold.
okay. So your fantasy is it what era? Because you know a lot of fantasies written in medieval Europe. What
Yes,
time zone? What culture? What era is it? Is your fantasy made in?
mostly contemporary urban fiction,
Oh,
urban
urban
fantasy.
fantasy. Yeah.
Yes, because
So,
if I play with historical, everyone is saying no, this is not historical.
oh yeah. People have a lot to say about things.
Yes.
Um. So, what? I mean, did you base it in Muscat when you, or did you have it in a different city? Where's the contemporary? Where's the urban fantasy based?
Most of my books are based in America because I focus on that area of readers
Right.
because that's what they want. But only one book is called Rebel with Time. It's local. It's a story about Oman and
Oh,
Omani
okay.
characters.
Tell us a little bit about that book.
It's about a girl called Jamila, and she's supposed to be arranged for a marriage with someone she doesn't know, but she falls in love with someone else. And there are issues within the family and friends, and yeah.
Okay, so quite a trying to think of. I nearly said Romeo and Juliet, but that's certainly not that's certainly not it.
No.
I can't quite put my finger on where that would. So is that must be quite a yeah, that would be quite emotional having to be married off to like a yeah. Okay. And so okay, so you base a lot in America. Do you do a lot of research on American? Have you been to America? What's the sort of
I've never been to America before, but I've heard stories about the culture and places, and I have a lot of friends from America. And also, I do a research before writing the books.
and how do you do your research? Is there like a do you know what I mean? Like for
Google
example,
and ask
yeah, sorry.
Google, Google. I use Google and asking my friends.
Yes, and so because I know that if you're is there a city you in particular you like to base in America?
Virginia, because my dad went to Virginia before. He lived there for years.
Right. And for the like if you would try like what city in it like so what city in Virginia is there like a or is it just like generally Virginia?
Mostly the cafes and the buildings, everything, and the weather also.
Right. And so g- hmm, give us a give us an idea about the the um, the American influence. So do you have to alter? Do you have to think about? Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Did you find it difficult writing in America, or is it does it flow
Yes.
easily because of the movies and the interaction?
The movies and the books and the TV shows, everything here is from American culture. So that was easier for me to start from.
Right, because I couldn't imagine writing in America because it would be very foreign to me because yeah
English is my third language, by the way.
oh okay. Do you write in English or is it yeah you write in English right
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So what's the first two languages?
Arabic and Swahili, African.
Oh Swahili. Oh okay. Didn't know that. Okay yeah. Um and so have you ever thought about writing in those languages or have you done the
No, because
translation?
they also have their difficulties. You have to be fluent in Arabic and English because there are two things. There are the local language, Omani language, that's different from the formal Arabic. You have to
Right,
learn
there's a
the formal
dialect
Arabic
and
first.
there's like
Yes,
a dialect and things like that. Ah, okay. So you don't. So there's no. So because you know how in English, someone from California can write the same as someone in Australia, and
yes.
someone in England can write the same as someone in the middle of Texas. Is that not that same translation? Is it not a more universal thing? Is it more local for Arabic?
The Omani language is local in
Oh, okay.
Oman because in the Gulf, every country has a different accent.
Right. Okay. And yeah, so I think we'll. Oh yeah, actually, yeah. And how many words did you say you write a day? Do you write every day? Actually, I should start off with.
No, before I used to write every day, but now I think that just makes the scene feel like, you know, stiff. I don't like it. So now
Right.
I just write when I feel good and have the time. I write around 2,000 words a day
Oh,
in 2 hours.
So you're a Omani Stephen King, Jesus. That's quite a few it's quite a few words, yeah. Oof. So how long have you been writing for actually? I should have asked that at the start. Don't know why I didn't.
Uh, of course, I wrote when I was a little girl, but that was not, serious writing.
No.
But I started in 2015 writing books,
Oh, okay. So you've been writing for 8 years?
or 7 years, yes, about 8 years.
Oh, dear. Yes. So okay. So we'll start to wind down here. Is there anything you would have to say to aspiring writers?
Well, I will say keep writing, whatever happens. Even if you need breaks, take breaks, then come back to writing again.
So never give up.
Yes,
Okay. Well, thank you, Safa, for joining us today. Sorry about all the technical issues at the start.
it's okay.
Um, once again, if you enjoyed this interview, then check out. We've had more interviews with various writers. They will be linked in the description. And don't forget to check out Safar's books. So, do you want to give us some titles that you would like to promote?
I have my most recent title. It's at Barnes and Noble now. They have a lot of copies to sell. It's The Fourth Reason. You can find it on Amazon also.
Cool. And in the description, we'll have some links to her social media and some other things that can provide that can help you find her books. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.